Charlotte Lewis with Share with Charlotte, where emphasis is placed on finding balance in relationships. I am the creator and host, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in to a new episode with a new topic. This particular one called The Mess You Make Isn't Just Your Mess. The mess you make isn't just your mess. Now this message may sting a little because it may bring home some things of your remembrance of, places you've been with someone else or things of the past, and it may not even be just the past. It may be something you're living in right now with someone who is in a place of just messy. You dealing with their mess. Because it's not just your mess. The mess you make. I'm talking about the mess you make, whether it's you engaging in alcoholism, or it's you're a drug addict, or whether you're a gambler, whether you overeat, or whether you self-neglect your medical issues that you have, or whether or not you're a habitual criminal. I'm talking about you can fill in the blank. Who do you know? Who do you know that just in a place of a mess, that you're also in that place with them? Who do you know? Who resonates with you? Who comes to mind when I'm asking that particular question? And then the other question is I want to flip, and that is, are you the mess? Are you the one creating the mess? Are you the one with the bad habits? Are you the one that got people turning flips for you because they want to just help you? They cannot stop helping you. It's one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing. And this thing been going on for years. For years. It would bring me back to even my father, who had dementia and Alzheimer's. And when I was taken back and forth to the doctor, see the psychiatrist. And he told me, he said, this is only from the fact that your dad was an alcoholic. And I'm thinking, but if my dad wasn't an alcoholic, because we took care of him after my stepmom died for 18 years before he died. And he was drinking so heavily. I mean, like heavily, falling out anywhere, getting lost in the car, having an accident, flipping. I mean, he was just a mess. But see, his mess wasn't just his mess. We was all involved, intertwined with his mess. So it wasn't just his mess. And he, being who he was, had wanted to just own it as if it belonged to him. But look what you're doing to your children. We now own your mess like you own your mess. And we think about the whole 18 years, made me think, I could have had my father. There was 14 children born with my father. He had 13 siblings. And I really can't remember one that had dementia or Alzheimer's. And of course, he was the last one who survived to pass. But there was some even older than him who died. And I just don't remember them having this condition. And I was thinking, but the mess my dad created was the mess his children also had to carry. And it wouldn't have been nice if I could have had my father, or we could have had our father in a state of mind where he had everything intact. Because his body was strong, but his mind was gone. But it was the alcohol. It was the alcohol. And I'm thinking, that's my story, but what's your story? Who are you seeing in this place of just making mess, creating havoc, of just a place of self-destruction? Who are you involved with? Because we all probably know somebody who's been in that position. But that did bother me. It hurt me to know that I could have had a dad that I could have really enjoyed. I mean, really enjoyed, if it wasn't for the bad habit he had of alcoholism, of being an alcoholic. I could have had my father and really enjoyed life more with him than just being one who had to take care of him. But see, some of you may be dealing with a mess in your life that's generational. It may have started with your great-grandfather, your grandfather, trickled down. Could have been alcoholism, could have been drug usage, could have been whatever. You can fill in the blank. And it trickles down. maybe in and out of jail. Your dad was, your grandfather was, just a history. Now you're seeing signs in your own kids. That generational curse that we so often speak of. So see, it's not just your mess. It's the mess that you have placed on your children and their children. You have created and caused a generational of mess. And you have to say, but somebody got to break the chain. But it could have been you. Change is not impossible, because change is possible. But you have to want change. But I want to share too about this, and that is, I see mothers, particularly mothers and fathers, still running back and forth getting their son or their daughter out of jail. Habitual criminals. Recidivism rate just continually throughout the years. But to them, they said, I want to see my baby locked up. I can't deal with that. But you hear the word I can't deal with that. I want to see my baby home. I gotta get him out of jail. Let me tell you something that's wrong with that. If there's a continuation of that repeatedly. If all you do is keep running, bailing someone out, if that's all you do, you don't allow them time to see who God is. You don't allow them time to know that there is a God, that they can call upon God, because they're too busy calling you. They see you, which means they see man. But if you really want to help them, then you don't put them in a position where you're so quick to run. You don't become the enabler, because they already know you're going to run and get them out. So you don't help them, and you sure don't allow them to see who God is. And I want to read the scripture to you that speaks on that I thought was so on point. 1 Corinthians 8 and 9, and it says, be careful, however, that the exercise of your rights does not become a stumbling block to the weak. And I took that to heart for me to say, yes, you can exercise your right. You have a right to go get your child out of jail. You can get your child out of jail every single time you want to get your child out of jail. You have that right to do that. But you're going to create a stumbling block for them to have that relationship with God. Because you don't allow them to marinate, to simmer. You're too busy rushing before the water even boils, before the heat even turned up. You got to get them out as fast as possible. But people need to see God in the midst of their weakness. People need to see God in the midst of them being in a place of mess. People need to see God and who God is, so that they know there's somebody bigger and stronger than who they are. That change is not impossible. That change is possible and healing is possible. But if you don't allow them to see God, you're creating a stumbling block in their relationship in order to have with God. So that's not good. But we do that a lot of times. We want to run and fix something, because that's what a lot of us do. We want to run and fix the problem. But are you really fixing the problem? Or are you just being an enabler to put a Band-Aid on it? Because that problem is still there, and it's a continuation. It's continuously going to bleed out. And that's not good. So we talked about the generational part. We talked about the fact of you being an enabler. But how many times do you find yourself lying for them? Lying for them. They can't go to work the next day because they came in wee hours of the morning drunk as they could be. So you got to lie to the boss and say he's sick. He has a doctor appointment. Or something happened that he can't go into work, because we lie. We lie for them. We cover for them. How many people have you lied to beyond just a job? Because you don't want people to know what truth is. That the mess this person is creating and the mess you in with them, you don't want other people to know because of reputation maybe. because of pride, because you don't want people to say something that you have this reputation of being something else when you know the mess and the dirt that's in your own family or about your own child or about your own siblings or whomever, because you want to cover up the mess as if you're doing them a favor and you're not. Simply because if you keep it in the dark, it never gets to the light. And to get to the light means is to heal. But you want to keep it buried in the dark. Because we carry the mess. It's not just your mess. It's also the mess you give us. It's not just your mess. Now I got to lie for you. Spiritually, look, I'm lying just to be lying for you. So it affects me spiritually in my walk with God. Because now I'm just lying for you. Mentally, I'm just in a turmoil of this roller coaster, emotionally, mentally just torn. Because I don't know how to really fix you. But you know what? You can't fix somebody who wants to be in a mess. You can't fix somebody who chooses to be in a mess and to continuously to be messy. But I want to say this to you. I really want to say this to you. There's nothing except yourself that tells you you have to hold on and carry somebody else's mess. That's a choice you make. You have a right to put their mess down, to lay it down, to sit it down. But you got to be at peace with your decision. You can't lay it down and be guilty and feel guilt. You got to lay it down because you feel and know you have a right to lay it down. Because the bottom line is, at some point in place and in time, you're going to have to also look at where you are. Is this slowly killing you? Is it even something you can fix? Because chances are you can't. Should you give this to God? Should I just pray over it? Can I bring in other people? Can I do what my family does? We do intervention circles. When someone in our family have an issue so big that we no longer can talk about it because it's going nowhere, we bring in and we do family intervention. We cry, we talk, we share. I've seen it do wonders. I've seen it heal. I've seen it help. I've seen it where people have made changes. Because we're a family. And a family is one. So your mess is not just your mess. You don't get that privilege to own it as your own. Because it bleeds in all the ones who love you. In my family, we love each other. But we also hold each one of us accountable. Where's the accountability? Where's the accountability? Or do you make excuses? Where's the accountability? Or do you just keep bailing them out? Where's the accountability? Or do you just keep being an enabler? Where's the accountability? Where's the accountability? Are you the one with the mess? Or are you the one who is bled over and you carry the mess? Because it happens. People have bad habits. People are often self-destructive. You marry someone, you in it. But the Bible says that you don't have a right to divorce. And I'm going to read that to you. Because a lot of spouses feel, I'm so stuck in this. And it says on Matthew 19, 8-9, and it says, Jesus replied, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because your heart was hard. But it was not this way from the beginning. I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife except for sexual immorality and marries another woman commits adultery. So you ask yourself, I'm in this marriage, but he stayed drunk all the time. I'm in this marriage, but he's on drugs. I'm in this marriage, he won't work. I'm in this marriage, and I just feel stuck in this marriage. First of all, you can't fix who he is. But I can say you make the effort to try to work with him to get him or her, because this ain't no just one gender sided, him or her the help that they need. You bring in people that you know you can trust or that he or she may trust to try to help. But at the end of everything, if you're at a place where you've done everything, you've exhausted every single effort, this person is just going to be an alcoholic. And not just any alcoholic, a self-destructive alcoholic. He's a drug addict, not just a drug addict, but one who's very self-destructive. And all those other things that you can fill in the blank that you now are attached to their mess. You have to go to God, who he is, in prayer. So whatever that peace that God gives you is something that he gives you. I can't tell you what to do or not to do. The only thing I can tell you is that you have a right. You have a right to place it and sit it down. You have a right to get it over to God. You have a right to say, this is bigger than what I can do. I can't fix him, but I know someone who can. You have a right to pray over it. You have a right. But your next move in your marriage, beyond that, is something that you have to take up with God himself for you to decide what that is. But I know too many of us, truly are enablers to the problem. We're enablers because we're too quick to jump. But again, it's so critical that in the midst of someone's mess, they have to see God in order to get through something. They have to see God in order to get over something. They have to see God in order to be healed. They have to see God in order for whatever that pain is underneath it all, that God can take that away. That flesh desire. Because when we want our flesh to be pleased, we do a lot of things that are self-destructive because it feels good. It's not of God doing, it's just something that we choose because our flesh is weak. We love what we love and we like what we like. And what feels good to us isn't always godly. And we know that. But we as people have to do better. You don't have a right when you're the one with the mess. You don't have the right to say, it's mine. You don't have a right to say, this is about me, not about you. You don't have a right to say, you tend to your business and I tend to mine. See that? That's all that is wrong. You don't have a right. So that's truly you living out of true ignorance. Because if you honestly think that your mess does not also belong to the other people who love you, then you're truly living in a place of ignorance and selfishness. Because that's a selfish statement you're making. Because that means you only care about what feels good to you and not about how it's affecting the other person. And there's nothing good nor right about that. But another thing I want to talk about is just the toxicity of just the toxic of what you create in the relationship. It's toxic. People hate seeing you coming home because you bring in all that toxicity into the house. They don't know what state of mind you're going to be in. They don't know what you're going to bring in. Was it a good day, bad day? You bring chaos. You bring craziness and drama into the house because it's toxic. And even because it's toxic now, I'm just in a place of unrest. There's no peace in this house. There's no peace within me. I'm so unsettled. I'm on this emotional roller coaster every time I see you coming. But I'm still in it because I haven't left. But I don't know how to help you because you don't want the help. You seem to be fine the way you are. What makes you feel that you're okay the way you are when truly you're not? Is it just the fact that you have just grown accustomed to this life? Or are you really in a place where you feel good? Or in that moment of what you're feeling when you're high or when you're gambling? That you got this rush, you're feeling good, but when you crash and you come down and reality set in, are you still in a place where you feel good? But don't you care about the pain and the suffering of the other people that love and care for you? What you're doing to them? Or are you just one selfish person who just don't give a fat rat about them? You only care about yourself and only you. Then all I can say is shame on you. Shame on you. If that's all you see is just you. You don't have to go to work. But I'm still in a relationship with you, so I gotta go get not one job, I go get 2 jobs. And I'm not just talking gender, just a man. I'm talking about this could be a woman. It could be anybody. Because the bills still gotta get paid, whether who you married to or your significant other is, if they go to work or not. You still got lights, gas, water. You still gotta pay rent. You still got other needs that need to be tended to, especially if you have kids. But they're not manning up. You have a wife, but she's not a partner. So you gotta make up for all of this 2-3 jobs while they go out and just reap havoc of just mess and leave you trying to be responsible for what need to be done. And that's not fair for any partner or any spouse in a relationship. Because that's a selfish way to live. It's a selfish way to even be in a relationship. And then you ask yourself, but is it even a relationship or it's just a position? Or it's just a title? Because relationships is when 2 people come together, working together, building something together. So your relationship, so-called, is a very unhealthy, toxic one. But I'm speaking, and I'm not just talking because it's just something I'm just making up. No, people, these are real people lives. It's real people lives. So the mess you make, it's not just your mess. You don't get that privilege of saying it's just mine. You don't get that privilege of saying it's just mine. But it just bothers me when people tend to feel as if they're the only one in it. I remember a situation I was in, and I was married at the time, and this husband had an issue with alcohol, and I was just thinking one time that we had gone out and he had the keys. He wouldn't give me the keys. And I know he wasn't fit to drive. And I got in the car with him because I came with you, so I'm going to leave with you. But the whole time, I'm in a nervous wreck. And I'm thinking, even as I was preparing for this message, and I'm thinking, how stupid and dumb of me to even get in the car. Because clearly he wasn't in a position to drive. What if I had died? All the people would have been affected by my death. What if he died? All the people would have been affected by his death. Now, that would have been one big mess. But I knew better, and I did it anyway. Because we find ourselves doing dumb stuff when we have picked up somebody else's mess, carrying it, and putting yourself in a position that you know you should not even be in because of their mess. Their mess. It wasn't your mess, but I made it my mess. And I got in the car and could have died, could have been killed, but just the grace of God that we made it home. What are you doing? What are you doing that you know better? What are you doing that you know your choice of what that is not good? What are you doing? What are you doing? Because I know some things I've done. And that was definitely one of them that I should never have done. What are some things that you can do differently? Where are you going to now set boundaries? Where are going to be your boundaries that you can set to say, I have to draw a line somewhere because this has been going on too long and I need to get this to God. I'm going to sit this down, or I'm going to have that talk with you, but I'm going to say what I mean and I'm going to mean what I say, because this can't continue further on and on. I'm not going through more years of this. I'm not even going through another day of this, another 6 months of this. Because I got to do something different. If you got kids, because I got to look at my children, that I don't want to be with your bad habits, your self-destructive nature. I got to save the next generation. Because you won't save you, so I got to save them. Because they deserve better, and I owe them that. Because God gave them to me to care for. He gave them to me so that I would take care of them. He gave them to me that I will always use good judgment in how I raise them. Because your children are your gift. But we come to a place, you got to set boundaries. Because if not, you're going to find yourself in a place where as he's bleeding out, you're bleeding out. And it's not good for either one. It's not healthy. You have somebody who you know is self-destructive when it comes to their health. They've been told they have, whether it be a diabetes, cholesterol, whether their heart is weak, or they have these many strokes, or it's so many health issues. But you see them do all this self-destructive stuff that you just waiting on death to come. You waiting on death to come. Because they're self-destructive, because they don't want to be controlled by what they must do. Because the flesh likes what the flesh likes. I don't want anything or anybody to dictate. Take what I think is joy in my life, what feels good to me. So I'm just going to do what I want to do and put a period on it. And you literally just watching them in a slow death. But where are you with that? Where are you with that? I want to read just a few scriptures to you that brings it home before I end this. And that is Galatians 6, 7 through 8 says, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. And we talked about that. The flesh is weak, but the flesh love what the flesh love. But it says the flesh will reap destruction. That's part of that. Galatians 6, 7 through 8. And then Proverbs 19 and 3 says, people ruin their lives by their own foolishness, and then are angry at the Lord. Then you want to be angry like, how did I get here? You know exactly how you got here. You can't put that on God. But what God does, he gives you free will. You want to be a fool, he'll let you be a fool. You want to make some foolish choices, he'll let you make foolish choices. But you can't put that on God. You put that on yourself. Because that's not something he did. It's something he allowed. And then Romans 14:12 says, so then each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. Remember, God forgets nothing. He gives you free will to make your own choices. So what would be your choice? Is it time for change? Is it time for healing? What is your choice? You can't change the past. So let's step out of the past. Let's step into the present and into the future. So what do you want your today, the rest of your day to look like? And what do you want your tomorrow to look like? Because that's honestly up to you what that is. And we talked about the generational curse. And Exodus 34:7 says, I lay the sins of my parents upon my children and grandchildren. The entire family is affected by what you do. The entire family is affected by what you do. So you don't get that right to say the mess you make is yours. No, the mess you make belongs to a lot more people than yourself. And this one, Lamentations 5:7 says, our ancestors sinned and are no more. They're gone. And we bear their punishment. That generational curse. That generation from generation to generation. They have gone. They're gone. But we're here and we're still reaping that which they gave and that DNA. But you don't have to say it's in me so I can't help myself. Yes, you can help yourself. Yes, you can help yourself. So we're not going to say that. Because you can tempt yourself. You can. Because change is possible. Healing is possible. So yes, that attitude is truly unacceptable. And then it says, but hope and change and restoration. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone and the new is here. So are you going to shed your old and let the new be here? Or you want to stay stuck in this place that you created and not make change? And so I want to say this to you, and I'm going to go ahead and end this, and that is, I want you to think about who has been affected by your personal struggles. If I'm speaking to someone who's in that place of in a mess, creating a mess. Whether it be emotionally, financially, mentally, who are you hurting? Who's carrying your mess? And if it's not you carrying, someone you know carrying your mess, then my question to you is, who mess are you carrying? Am I asking others to carry weight that belongs to me? Are you? Are you asking people to carry your mess? Because I promise you, if you have anyone out there that loves you, they're carrying your mess with you. You don't get that I, me, mine when you have people that care and loves you. If I'm enabling someone else's mess, what boundaries can I begin to set? And we spoke about that. I really want you to think about that. If you're one of those people who are an enabler, what boundaries can you now set? Because you really, really need to do that. And then what does healing look like for me? What does it look like for me? Because I need to heal from this mess that I'm carrying, but I also need to heal from the mess that's in me that I'm putting out. So how do I heal? From either side. I want you to really think about that. And I want to say again that change is possible, so is healing. But the pain doesn't just belong to the one with the mess. Pain also belongs to the one carrying the mess. Because they're in pain too. To even be going through this emotional, mental, financial, spiritual, all this roller coaster ride that this person that who have chosen to pick up this weight, they're in pain too, because it's a lot to carry. And it becomes very, very heavy. Very heavy. But set the boundaries. And then the boundaries you set, be true to yourself on what you can live with and be at peace with. Because that is so very critical. Don't be an enabler. Do not be an enabler. And again, if you do not allow someone that you keep chasing, pulling them out of different issues and problems, you don't allow them to get in a position where they can see God. Because you're too busy bailing them out. But you're doing it, or you're doing it for them, or you're doing it for you. That's what you have to ask yourself. Because I hear a lot of eyes in that. But they have to see God in order to be healed. They have to see God in order for God to bring them out of something. And you could be that stumbling block for them. So get out the way. Get out the way. And let God do what God does. Get out the way sometimes. Just get out the way. And allow them to truly see who He is. I want to leave that with you. And I just want to say, stay strong in your position. If you're someone carrying it, stay strong. But make better choices. And if you truly one it's your mess, don't be so selfish to think it's all yours when it isn't. I hope this message has been one that truly can bless your spirit and your heart and your mind, give you peace. So I thank you for listening. But I also want to ask that if you have not yet subscribed or followed, please do so. Be a part of my podcast community. If you liked the message, you thought it was useful, click the like button. If you know of anybody that can use the message, please share it. You can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And again, this is also season 3 where I invite you with your letters to just share your life or anything you want to share with me. Your highs, your lows. If you're even in this position, I'd like to hear from you. Or you're an enabler, you're someone who are in a place where you're a mess. And you're creating a mess for your family or people that you love. Write to me. You can sign your name any way you want to sign it. You can make it anonymous, it doesn't matter. But I would love to hear more about your story. And if you're an enabler or if you're one of the people who's carrying someone else's mess, I'd love to hear from you. That's at Char, C-H-A-R, at shareitwithcharlotte.com. My email is Char, C-H-A-R, at shareitwithcharlotte.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And also just want to say thank you again for all those who continue to keep me encouraged. I just appreciate your support and your love. But again, I hope this message has been one that has been good feeding for you. I thank you, I love you, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.